Welcome, everybody. Let's do this.
I can stop letting my inner child run the show. I can give it to myself now.
We're going to be led to more magic than we ever even knew we were capable of allowing ourselves to feel and have and be.
What if the thing standing between you and your dream life is attuning to your inner child, allowing your inner child to finally feel safe, safe to express, safe to follow your dreams, safe to hold and receive money, safe to go after the career you desire, safe to set boundaries, safe to not settle until you're in the relationship that you truly want? What if all the people-pleasing, perfectionism, burnout, the triggers and core wounds that get us stuck in the same patterns again and again? What if your inner child has the key? This Monday, December 1st, we are kicking off our Return to Magic Challenge, a 15-day manifestation challenge where we're going to go through every single phase of inner child and give yourself what you needed so you can feel safe, secure, held, magnetic, grounded, regulated, and ready to tackle whatever comes your way in 2026. I just have to share that I recently went back through old photos and found the very first workshop I ever purchased from To Be Magnetic. It was all a la carte at the time. We didn't even have the Pathway membership, but I bought the Inner Child workshop. It was the fall of 2018, and I really diligently moved through every single phase, processing so much coming up. It was the final push I needed to close the door on my career path that was no longer aligned for me and to start saying no to anything that did not feel like a full body yes. That was the year that I left my career path in film and television, and within a year started working at To Be Magnetic, which has now become such a huge part of my career, of my purpose, of the joy and passion I get to share with the world. But it took that inner child workshop and going through those phases to actually feel safe, to say that I wanted more, that I wanted something different, to feel confident to show up securely in that. It also helped me work through some significant challenges I had in my relationship at the time with trust issues, and really trusting not only myself, but trusting my relationship, trusting the universe, and trusting that I could have more out of this life. If you are feeling the pressure of this time of year, if you are feeling the pressure of this year in general and going through a big transition or next steps, and you're kind of searching for what is that clarity, what is meant for me, where am I supposed to go, universe, what am I supposed to do, how am I supposed to move? Or maybe you're feeling like, okay, there's a lot of good things coming in, but how do I hold it? How do I stop feeling so overwhelmed and burned out and exhausted all the time? Or maybe you're just repeating the same patterns, hitting the same tests, the same trigger points, and you're just exhausted. There has to be a better way. That is going to be this challenge. The Return to Magic is the revamped, up-leveled version of Inner Child, one that is going to go deeper, but also more gentle, more nourishing, and more intuitively led for your exact blocks and tests and triggers in this season of life. So if you have a core wound or triggers and tests coming up that you're like, this really needs to get dealt with at some point, like I need to move through it because I'm not moving forward until I move through this. That is what this challenge is going to be. It is going to be your soft landing for this end of the year. This is going to be the nourishment that we all need. I am so excited to go through this. There have been so many shifts this year, so much coming at us, not knowing what to do, where to go, what's the right thing for us. If everything in the world changes, where do I go from there? This challenge will help you get clarity on that, get rooted back to who your authenticity is. And the other huge bonus about going through the inner child pieces that's so new with this workshop comparatively to other ones in the past is that not only are you healing and attuning to the needs that you wanted and needed to get met in all of those phases, but you're reclaiming the parts of your magic, your essence, your gifts that you haven't let come out. They've been almost in hiding. Until you have a baseline of safety and security in your life, it's extremely hard, if not impossible, to allow your most creative ideas to come through, to allow your most talented gifts to start to bubble to the surface. So if you can create that internal safety, if you can create that internal trust, everything else is going to align from there. I'm telling you, this is our most impactful workshop for a reason. And now we're going through it as a community, holding your hand. You're so not alone. And there's so many amazing grounding practices in there that are going to make you feel so nourished and good going through these phases. So if you have been getting the ping, if you are looking for direction, if you're needing clarity, if you're just needing nervous system regulation at this time of year, I'm telling you, this challenge is it. From every fiber in my being, I cannot wait to see what happens for you on the other side. This is the foundation of it all. Come join us. Pre-week's kicking off on Monday, December 1st. Week 1 is Monday, December 8th. The Pathway membership, which is how you access our challenge, but also all of our workshops, all of our deep imaginings, all of our nervous system tools, all of our unblocked money challenge, unblocked money courses, everything is in our Pathway membership. And right now it is 30% off. This is the lowest discount we have ever offered for the Pathway. We just want to get as many of you in there who feel called, and I cannot wait to see you on the other side of this. Welcome. And now a word from our partners. If you're a coach, healer, educator, or anyone building a community online, you know this. Transformation doesn't happen from a single moment or single module. It happens through consistency, through feeling supported, through being part of something that keeps you engaged and inspired. And that's exactly why we've built our entire member experience on Kajabi. It allows us to bring everything into one seamless ecosystem. The workshops, our emails, our community group, our mobile app, our day-to-day touch points, so that members can stay connected to their process no matter where they are. If you are looking for somewhere to bring your community to connect on, to build courses or modules or online workshops, perhaps even a podcast, Kajabi is hosting a completely free live workshop on December 4th with Julie Ciardi, a 7-figure business coach who built her entire coaching ecosystem on Kajabi in a way that keeps her clients coming back year after year. In this workshop, Julie is going to walk you step by step exactly how she uses Kajabi's full suite, her branded course hub, private daily podcast, community, and mobile app to create a learning environment that feels grounded, connected, and truly transformational. The best part, if you attend the workshop and then start a 14-day free trial with Kajabi, you'll receive Julie's exact course template, the same one she uses to run her 750 client coaching program completely free, which normally sells at nearly $300. If you've been wanting to elevate your program, streamline your ecosystem, or create a space your clients genuinely want to return to, this is a really aligned moment to explore Kajabi. You can reserve your spot now at the link in the show notes. Again, the workshop is completely free and happening on December 4th. You can sign in at the link below. And now, onto the episode. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Expanded. I'm so excited because this is our kickoff episode to our end of year challenge. We are launching ourselves into a whole new cocooned magical portal. Welcome, Lacey.
Hi, I am just so happy I finally can talk about this. I've been pushing for this for 2 years. Last year, we're like, remember? I was like, well, what about inner child shadow? So I'm really, really excited about this. And if you haven't been on our whole entire journey that we've been holding your hand on, it started with the book launch, into the speaking tour, into the book tour, to now, and they've all sort of built on each other. And the beauty of them, if you have not been doing that, the book club, I said book tour, but the book club is available for free. You can find the details linked below. I do think it's very powerful, fun, digestible. Doesn't mean you had to have fully read the book, but we have been going through some really important concepts that I think are really special that can help, just anchor this process more. Not mandatory, but all of these steps have sort of built on each other. And so here we are finally now at the last part of the phase so that we can be so prepped for what's coming down the pipeline as we start to talk about stripping and 2026. Let's dive in.
Well, it's so interesting because one of the big themes, you had a channeling at the top of the year that this year was going to be the year of stripping, of transformation, of shedding anything that was no longer for our highest good, anything we were settling for, even things that like felt fine. If it wasn't in our fullest alignment and highest good, like it's got to go. And that process has already started for people. And it was, I think when we were doing the money challenge, the number one question was like, okay, I want to keep working with that same block or theme from the money challenge in a deeper way. What workshop should I go to next? And we're like, dang, the workshop they should really go to is inner child. Cause like that's where it's going to like uproot and clear everything out. And of course, it's the end of year and there's this beautiful portal with holiday and this magic and this energy of possibility. It's just so ripe for possibility this time of year. I was actually talking to an astrologer friend of mine and she was saying how like, it's not a coincidence that Capricorn season, like the energy of lists and action and momentum kicks off over New Year's. Like there's a reason why that's there because it like brings that energy forward. But as we're thinking through it, we're like, okay, is there a way to go through inner child that feels like the supportive, nourishing, reclaiming of the magic aspect that can actually be what someone needs? And so that was our task this past 6 months or so of redeveloping inner child to be this nourishment, to be this reclamation of our magic, of our joy, of our authenticity, because that is the thing that is going to get us through the stripping over anything else.
And manifesting over anything else.
Yes.
It's the root. It's back to the roots, you know, and a big piece for me too was just like, we were all aware of this in the brand, but the energy aligned so perfectly now because the workshop was something I developed, what was it now, 7, 8 years ago? It was clunky. It was long. It was text heavy. Nobody has the attention span for that anymore. And we do, I think, have something fun that I can't talk about that might be launching in January. With Jenna Zoe.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that. And it's not an overwhelming launch. It's just, you'll be able to capture the crazy amount of information that Jenna, Zoe, Jessica, and I, and Elizabeth captured at the first speaking tour stop in NYC. And it's pretty profound. But all that to say, what's coming down the pipeline, how quickly time and space is speeding up and the stripping's going to continue, it only makes sense that just now is the perfect time for us to be getting back to this foundational work. And I think the beauty of it too, you've been the one in full creation mode of this with Janelle. You guys have both been coming at this from the full manifestation energetic perspective, but also from somatic, IFS, shadow, just everything that we didn't have fully in the very first 1.0 version of this. And so it only makes sense that now this is coming out. We're ready for this. We've been doing the priming work. We've all been getting stripped. And I think realizing through our stripping, correct me if I'm wrong, people listening, but a lot of people's biggest fears have been getting pulled out from under them. Their rugs, their, oh my gosh, what if this happens? And then it happens. And it's like, they're so held on the other side. Yes, at first it's tumultuous, but it's like they're stronger than they thought they were. They're held, they're way more redirected and in alignment. So this is a very, very jumbled way to say this could not be the more perfect aligned time for where our attention span is, where time and space is starting to speed up to, how the stripping is going to continue, that we are now going to basically get to the core of our magnetic self.
I know.
Right? Like the universe's only intention is to get us back into that whole worthy, authentic self. And we have been really, really scraping at it from most perspectives, right? The magnetic self, how to be magnetic, the authentic challenge. And now it's like, all right, let's go through every single phase of childhood that developmentally contributes to your compass, your own personal compass of magnetism and how you are being directed, right? Because our authentic essence lives down within us. And what we've been doing, if you've been a part of this brand for a long time, is you've been pulling off those onion layers. But if you haven't been, welcome to fucking step 1.
Yeah.
Like, we're here together going through step 1, and it's the most powerful of all. I'll let you take over, Jessica, on like what it's going to cover and why it's the most powerful of all. That yes, the magnetic, how to be magnetic workshop was so powerful, and so was the authentic self. those are just pieces of the onion layer. We're going straight to the core.
Yeah. One thing this has been coming up a lot too. And I think because so many new people are tuning into the brand from the book and from the tour and all the things, but a lot of people asking like, oh, so like authenticity is a big part. And I'm like, authenticity is everything.
It is magnetism. And when we say that, that is your magnetic self.
I think so many people they hear the word authentic, they hear authenticity, they don't really, like, it feels theoretical. It feels like, oh yeah, they hear authentic and they're like, yeah, I want to be my confident self, but there's still this persona. There's still this scaffolding that's on the outside. That's what you think you should be. We go on social media and we see all these people and we're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm authentic if I share this because I like that. But do you like that because you're trying to copy that person and it's happening so subconsciously and you don't even recognize it happening? Or do you like that because your parents rewarded you when you liked things like that? How much of our authenticity is from us, is from our core essence, and how much of it is because it was rewarded or developed in us through all of these stages of childhood. And when we can go back to each individual phase and actually give ourselves in the deep imagining, the nourishment, the support, the encouragement, the parenting that we really needed and wanted to fully develop our authentic self, that's when we can get clear on, oh, this whole time I thought this was my path and I've been really miserable and I wasn't sure why I was so miserable here, but I always thought this was my path. And then all of a sudden I realized I'm just doing this to appease my parent, or I was just doing this to get love because I thought this is the only way to get love or get seen or get the need met that I didn't get met in childhood. That is what's being stripped too. That's the thing that's like just shimmying off people right now. So it's like you're having these huge aha moments of like, whoa, that is the truth of me. Actually, I want to bring up a story that we had this person come to the New York speaking event 2 years ago, and she was talking about being a singer. And at that time, Lacey, the channeling you got was, we thought she was a dreamer archetype, but the deeper root was what part of you is still seeking validation from your parent in this successful musician career, in being a singer in this way. And I saw her at the New York stop this year, and she was like, Jessica, I spent 2 years reparenting this part of me. I do love singing, but the reason I wanted to be a famous singer was because I wanted my parents to see me. That was driving the whole show. And when she redirected that, now she's using singing to teach like a very niche kind of singing in a way that feels so good to her. And she just manifested this gorgeous farmhouse with fields and fields and fields of dahlias and flowers, multi-million-dollar house for $400,000. She's like, I don't know how on earth I got this house. I'm like, you have to submit a process. This is what we're talking about. Like, we think our story is X, and that is the only way that we can have happiness and fulfillment. And when we can actually like strip it down and understand what drivers are in place right now from wounding and from our unmet needs, and actually get in touch with our authenticity. She is so, seeing her in person, she was so light. She was so happy. She was beaming. She's like, it wouldn't be possible without this work. And so that is just like a little, it's not, you might be doing something that you do love the essence of, but the way in which you're going about it might need to be tweaked and more alignment to come through.
Think about that, right? She manifests this unbelievable farmhouse, this nourishment. I'm assuming upstate. It strikes me as
it's like outside of the city. Yeah.
Outside of the city. And it's like this deep nourishment. Let's talk about a magnetic home. Let's get into what people are going to be doing in this, and why that isn't just her manifesting like this multi-million-dollar farmhouse for 400,000. Like, it's so much deeper than that, what she manifested. And I bet if she was right here with us talking right now, she would be like, this was my magnetic home as a child. Like, I knew it. Yes. So let's get into like, what are people going to be doing in this, and why they should actually be excited for the stages, for the phases, especially if you ever did this, like the earlier ones, or have done the early inner child and shadow multiple times. Like, Let's get into the juiciness of it.
Okay, so the first stage you're getting kicked off with, which if you were on the tour, you got a taste of this DI, but the purpose in Soul's Essence DI. This is understanding what has all the stripping been about? What have all of my tests been about? What is the sign from the universe? Because when we are getting tested and triggered in one place again and again and again, there is a message the universe is trying to get us to learn a lesson so we can step deeper into ourselves. It's not trying to punish us. It's not trying to say that we're a bad person or we're not good enough or we're not worthy. It's trying to say, wake up, you're not listening. This is the route that we need to take you on. So that deep imagining brings forward, okay, if you looked at all of the tests and everything coming up, what is the actual sign? Where are you being guided? Where are you being led in this season of life? And this is this purpose piece. That will be your first step. Your second step is creating the neural architecture in your subconscious and in your body for a magnetic home and family. So this is where you're like, okay, pie in the sky. If your inner child could just create the dreamiest, most comforting, soothing environment for you to feel regulated, for you to express, to play, to do whatever you wanted. And the most regulated, inspiring parents who were modeling to you all the things, all the expansion that you've ever wanted of like how you could live out your life, that is what you're going to start dreaming up and using that as your anchor to source safety and comfort and expansion within. So that'll be in the pre-week.
And I remember, do you remember this, Jessica, whenever you did the original first one? Because remember when I was creating it, just like you do, I would do them myself.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that and seeing my magnetic home, what I created as my magnetic home and my magnetic parents for the first time. I remember the feeling in my soul of that attunement, that warmth, that connection, that magic. And so I have gone on now personally to manifest multiple like perfect magnetic, what could be childhood homes. And I just love hearing that story that you told about the woman at the speaking tour, because we all deserve our magnetic home. And so I can't wait for I just want to pause on that one. I can't wait for people to have their first experience or now new experience with that section, because it is so compass redirecting. It's like a mind warp for someone to be like, whoa, if I didn't have this, or I need this, I crave this, I want this, this is going, yes to all of this. So I wanted to pause on that because it's a really special phase.
I mean, even understanding, I had such a blueprint in my mind's eye of what that home looked and felt like. So like anytime I did even the safety eye, like my safe place would be that home. I would always consistently go back there. Like there was such a reference point to it. And part of it is how it looked, but more than anything, it was how that space felt, how the space was taken care of, how it was clean and orderly, and how there was
your Capricorn magnetic home.
Everything has a place. But
that would be my magnetic home.
Yeah, it just felt so grounding. And like one of the things was like play in nature and like getting to go out. And I will give my mom so much credit for this, because she did this when I was a kid, where we would walk around like our yard, and my grandma lived next door, and my grandma's yard. And she'd be like, oh, this flower is this. And oh, look at the bug here. And she would do like little, very present nature walks with me. And I was like, I want more of that. I want more of that, like more space, more land to like get and do that. So like I would just have that message reinforced so much. And it was so wild in manifesting the home that we're in now. It healed on so many layers. Like it is my magnetic home for this season. 100%. It was like my inner child would have gone nuts to see I was like living here and getting to live this out and having like all the nature and all the different plants and all the different animals and owls and even the coyotes and all of the skunks and just all of the creatures and everything that's around, and being present with all of it. It was so fulfilling and crazy how the visual was so similar in a lot of ways. Not exactly, but the feeling was there and the spaciousness was so there. So if you are someone who's manifesting a home, or even if you feel like, wow, maybe I could make some small tweaks to my current home to start reflecting that, you're reparenting your inner child in doing that, in creating a space that feels reflective of that.
Yeah, and we won't get too far on this, but I do feel it's so important because even now in our home, especially being a parent, there's something about our bedroom, which is I'm filming in, but we do what's the mega bed. There's my lunch. We do the mega bed because Max sleeps here and the kids and I sleep here. And there's something about our room. And then we're just like held by the oak trees that it is like it's a cocoon. It's connection, it's warmth. You're so held. And I don't know, there's just something, I think that there's nothing that children crave more than nature, connection, attunement, and feeling just so held. And so, yeah, just think of that, everybody going into this phase when you're doing it, because it really is a foundational point as you move through the different phases, the different stages.
100%. And one thing too, Janelle and I were talking about, because of neuroplasticity, you can overwrite old neural pathways, right? So if you have these associations from childhood that I didn't get that need met, and because I didn't get that met, I'm seeking it in all these external places. When you go back into the deep imaginings and you're giving yourself that in the DIs, and then in real life, the third day for each of the phases, you'll do an embodiment exercise where you'll make a little cocoon in your bed, or you'll have that warm bath, or you'll actually give yourself the physical containment or support that you needed for each of the phases. When you can do those two things, both the real world practices and the deep imagining, you're literally rewiring your nervous system to feel as if you got that need met. And you're also telling your adult self, like, okay, I know I didn't get it met then, but I can meet that need now. I can stop letting my inner child run the show and self-sabotaging and settling and taking breadcrumbs from all these other things in a way to attempt to get that need met. I can give it to myself now. And so I just want for anyone who's just not at a place where they feel their best, they're living their fullest dream life. A lot of times it's that inner child that's just still kind of like coming up and it's like, I didn't get this, I need this, from other people and situations. And full detachment is being able to say like, okay, if that person can't give me what I want in a friendship, relationship, career, whatever it is, I can source safety and comfort within. So I'm not going to settle. I'm going to say no to that. And I'm going to wait it out until I can find the thing that's aligned. That's when you're fully surrendered, is when you can source all of this internally. So I just feel like there's so much hope for anyone who didn't get these needs met that you can, in giving it to yourself now, completely change the game.
Oh, yeah.
You know that feeling when your entire body just exhales? That is exactly what I feel every time I use the Bond Charge Infrared PEMF mat. It feels like plugging yourself back into nature's power source, and major bonus points when I lay on this mat and do a deep imagining. PEMF stands for Pulsed Electromagnetic Field Therapy. It's designed to match the same gentle frequency of the earth, and one that helps your body relax, recover, and restore. It has grounding magnetic frequency, soothing heat, and skin energizing light, all in one luxurious wellness mat. It emits soothing far infrared heat that melts the tension in your muscles, red and near infrared light to boost circulation, help your skin glow, and speed up recovery. And it is layered with grounding crystals like amethyst, tourmaline, and selenite to help your body completely recalibrate. I've been using my PEMF mat first thing in the morning when I roll out of bed. I'm still feeling a little chilly. I'll put on the heat. I'll put on the 8 frequency hertz. That is Sherman's resonance, the same frequency as the earth. And I'll put a little DI on behind my head and just rest, feel into my body, reconnect, wake everything back up in a really gentle, nourishing way. Even 10 minutes on the mat, I can feel a huge shift. If you've been craving a way to unwind, recharge, and actually feel something working, the Bond Charge Infrared PEMF mat is way to go for your favorite at-home luxury ritual. Right now, it is currently Bond Charge's holiday sale, so you can receive a massive 25% off by just heading to bondcharge.com, and your 25% off code will be automatically applied to your order. So hurry and don't miss this massive chance to save big on your favorite Bond Charge products.
What's the next? Like, give us we don't even have to go through every stage, but give us the best part of the ones that are going to be, I think, the greatest shifters for people internally, the greatest integrators.
I'm going to go through the biggest core needs that would be deeply developed had you had your needs met at this phase, and what you can expect in meeting your needs going through the challenge. So for phase one, it's trust and safety. Trust and safety is the root of your relationships. Safety is the root of your money, your relationships, your home. Like anything you're manifesting oftentimes goes back to that. If you have controlling patterns, if you're hypervigilant, perfectionist, people pleaser, trust and safety. Avoidant, if you numb, if you have issues with overspending, overeating, if you have issues with overly attaching to people or pushing people away, almost all of this is another thing Janelle and I were talking about, is how there can be trauma and needs unmet in the later phases, but that first phase is so foundational to everything else. And especially when you're pushing up against those teenage years, of course, there can be new traumas and things that happen there. But oftentimes the ones that really spiral us out have a root to a trust and safety need not being met. And so much hinges upon that phase. Then you go into autonomy and boundaries. Autonomy and boundaries is really feeling confident in your ability to go out and make choices and follow through with things, and also knowing where you stop and others begin, in the sense of, I can say no to this. I don't need to people please. I don't need to take care of this person. I am confident that I can say this boundary with love, with compassion. I can be unapologetic about my boundaries. I don't have to shy away from things because of that. Then the next phase, your preschool phase, is creativity and play. This is where you let your fully authentic, creative, artist, fun. If you feel disconnected from play, or the word play feels like that's a silly thing, I don't even know how I would do that, this is going to be your sweet spot. This is where I have my creativity candle lit right now, ritual candle, because I'm like, okay, what does play look like for me as an adult? Like, what does that mean if I infuse play into my work? Even when we're crafting the challenge or thinking about making a reel, I'm like, okay, how do I make this fun? Like, what is the fun part of this that lights me up and gets me excited? How do you interact with play, Lacey?
Well, I think what is a really interesting correlation when people hear the thing we'll be putting out with Jenna in January from the first speaking event, we go so deep in the tour about purpose and this new energetic drive behind it and connection with it. And one thing we really talk about in that, it's like, what was your fringe interest? What made you unique and different? This would have been the phase where that would have been alive if it was safe enough to be. This phase is when you would have discovered what your essence for purpose truly is, what your gifts are. A lot of that conversation is about how to find your gifts, what are your gifts, where to look for your gifts, and how absolutely important it's going to be to know your gifts moving into 2026 because of where things are going through the continuation of stripping, dismantling, moving from the collective into the individual. I can't stress this phase enough because so many of us had this shut down through traditional school, through trauma and how we were raised, only having certain extracurriculars available to us because of what our family system valued, right? Like if I wanted to be an artist, but all that was available to me was soccer and sports, it's just that, this is your place to rekindle with your essence and purpose that's actually going to be really defining and going to be a massive anchor that helps you stay anchored when all of the stripping and dismantling is happening into the future. And most importantly, how it's going to help shape what your purpose services are in life, the way that you are really showing up and serving, and whether it's in relationship and friendships, whatever the collective. But this phase is so important for what's to come, for you to anchor yourself in your authentic essence.
When I think too about people who I know who have certain flow in their life, but there's that missing piece, they're getting close to the edges of doing something aligned with their purpose, but they're not there yet. This is the sector where I'm like, oh, they don't even know what their hobbies are. They don't even know what they'd want to do in their free time. They've so repressed that freedom to play without boundaries or limitations or glass ceilings that they almost need to be like a kid again for a little bit, to go into that and be like, oh, wait, this is actually the roadmap of what I need to do now. I mean, to me, it's like so obvious and on the nose, but like in one small example of this, when I go back through my childhood and I think of like, I dressed up as a witch probably 10 Halloweens. Like I've dressed up as like Hocus Pocus witch and this kind of witch and that kind of witch and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And like I was obsessed with magic. I was obsessed with ritual. I was obsessed with practical magic. I would write down all the spells from Charmed episode to make my own little spell book. Like I was enthralled. And of course, I am now working at a manifestation brand.
Like spending time and space.
Yeah, to like bring alchemy back into the real world. And I'm like, oh, duh. Like it was all leading me here. Like that makes so much sense. So I just feel like it doesn't have to be like, I'm going to put on a witch's hat and like do spells, but also isn't a deep imagining a form of a spell in a way?
Totally.
You know, you're creating alchemy in that. So those little tiny hints of things that like you were just drawn to without any filters, that is going to be such a roadmap for people.
And the last little thing I want to add to this, because I think it's a really important conversation to be having, but something to be extremely aware of, is how distracted we are. That's why a deep imagining like this is so powerful, and spending time in this stage is so powerful, because we could think about this for 2 seconds with our attention span and cruise to Instagram and start scrolling. There's so many things distracting us from having this deeper clarity, this anchor, this connection. And when I say it, distractions, like going into 2026, I mean it so much more deeply now than I ever did before. I'm not talking about numbing. I'm talking about like purposefully having us be disconnected from this and from each other. And that's where I think doing this challenge and this work, we're reclaiming. We're like, wait a second, I see where all of this distraction's taking place. And the places that aren't distracting, nature, in community with friends, doing these things that light you up, being in a book, being analog. These things aren't distracting. Journaling, doing a DI, it's reflective, it's processing. Yeah, so just having that in the forefront of people's minds, I think is a powerful thing to sort of theorize a bit while we're going through this.
Yeah, I mean, even thinking about one of the easiest ways to get someone distracted is to put them into fight or flight, into fear.
Totally.
So if you can find ways to source your safety within, despite things that feel really unsafe going on in the world, that is your best line of defense of figuring out a path forward. So it doesn't become all consuming, but you can actually get your brain online to be like, wait, let me think critically about this. Like, let me process this feeling. Let me move through this emotion, instead of it just being this whoosh of a wormhole that you're sucked into and can't get out of that fight or flight sensation. The next phase is the competency and confidence phase. This is where you learn, if I put effort towards something and I keep going at it, even if I'm not good at it now, I can see a reward. This is where you develop resiliency. This is where you learn to hone a craft and become a master at something. This is where if you fail or you have a fear of failure, you're going to work on that. Because I think so much of schooling specifically, especially during this phase, reinforces perfection, the A+. You don't get rewarded for effort. And if you're not rewarded for effort, then you're going to think, if I don't do it and I'm good at it at first, then I'm just not good at it. And how many things do you think that we've maybe moved away from because the beginning process was hard? I even think about now, so many people talk about like launching their business and it's not 100% flow and ease right away. And it's like, maybe there's wounding in this competency and confidence phase where you need to know that you're not going to get the dopamine hit right away of ultimate success. You're going to have to say I'm dedicated to this thing because I love it, not because I'm seeking that external reward, not because I need it to prove that I'm a good enough business person, but because I really love the craft and the effort and knowing that that's enough. And when you can really carve that out, that makes you so resilient to do whatever you want to do. You can see how it sets the stage, right? Like if the phase before this is that creativity and joy, you're like, okay, this is what I'm passionate about. This is the anchor that's like, okay, if you're passionate about it, here's how you can commit to it and in a way that feels sustainable and achievable. And also have confidence to fail and not see it as something that's wrong with you or something that needs to be fixed.
Or also trusting that it's the breadcrumb that's going to lead you right in the perfect direction, right? Like you always reference that example that you had the ping to start your own podcast and you just did it and you didn't know why and blah, blah, blah. And now it all makes the world of sense, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that even if it's not that instant, quick success, it's actually the thing that's preparing you. And we always hear, right? It's like the journey, the preparation, because it's going to be the thing that leads you to, so this, it sounds like this stage is really what's going to get us comfortable with the journey, the playfulness of the process rather than needing it to lead to success.
100%. And this is also where like imposter syndrome develops, where we feel like, oh, we're not as good as that person. And you're comparing yourself too much to others instead of focusing on your own journey. I'm curious, Lacey, how you're seeing, and I feel like this is going to ramp up over the next year too, but this instant gratification and people needing to rewire their nervous systems to slower planting of the seeds and slower rewards, like almost like getting more accustomed to gardening, where when you plant the seeds, the flowers don't pop up. I think social media has wired our dopamine circuits to be like, I did it, I posted and all the likes came. I did this and blah, blah, blah. I'm curious if over the next year, it's like you need to be comfortable with that in between.
I have this theory that based on where the stripping's going, based on where the dismantling's going and the dissolvement's happening over the next couple of years, and also where AI is headed, the agendas behind AI are headed, the narratives of what AI is going to quite literally be telling us, in our brains of what is true and what's atrophying them, blah, 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 that I have a feeling that there's going to be quite a turnoff to a lot of the Instagram instant gratification. I just had a huge conversation about this when I was just on Mark Grove's podcast, who actually took a really big step back from social media, as many of us know. And then he did this massive, deep research about what all of this is doing to our nervous system and our brain. And we got into like a very tangent conversation about where we think things are going. But all that to say, I think, like you're saying, the analogy of planting the garden, I really feel that things like social media are going to become a lot less appealing to us. AI is going to become a lot less appealing to us. Anything that isn't truly authentic and it's based on surfaceness, I do believe for many there's going to be this like allergicness to it, and that we are going to have to become very comfortable in our own unique, authentic talents, gifts, and the process of them, because this isn't like conspiratorial. It's like what Jenna has been talking about in human design and the new paradigm forever, the age of Aquarius, that where the dissolvement is going to happen, moving away from things like traditional schooling, it's just gone. AI's killed. It's gone. It's gone. Anybody who's sitting there today being like, I'm going to put my kids in this school to go to this college is done. Like, and for the most part, it's like these things. We're going to see such a rapid shift in things like the government, and this is what they all talk about, like in human design, and things like corporations. We're moving from that into the individual. And so I do really feel that there's going to be this really big resurgence of interest in analog, taking time to process things, taking time to develop things, because we're going to have to do things from a very new place that we've never done them before. And that things like social media are becoming so, especially Instagram, we see this. I'm not on TikTok, but I assume this is the same with TikTok. They're becoming so contrived, so performative that each of us that are becoming so authentic, that are going to kind of like lead the path in this new terrain, are going to, I think, have to become very, very, very comfortable with process, because we're going to be recalibrating to an entirely new system of how things work.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think I even see it with writing. Daniel started writing on his Substack, and he is like a writer. Like he will sit down and like comb through things and work through this. And he's just like always been writing his whole life as like just a side hobby, passion, all the things. And there's a lot of people on Substack. There's a lot of real true writers and amazing. Like yours feels like that authentic expression. There's so many of those, but there also, you do see it, the AI writing. There's just a cadence, there's just a rhythm, and you just like feel it and it feels different. And Daniel's like, it takes me so long to write these pieces because I'm like having to go through all these stages. I'm like, well, keep going with the craft because it will get faster the more you dedicate to the practice. But also you can't compete with people who are using an AI tool to like turn out at that volume. And maybe your differentiating factor is that it's not that. For everyone out there, no matter what your medium is or your gift is, if yours isn't the speed at which currently the culture is moving, just be aware of it, but don't see it as like, oh, well, that means I have to change my whole course. Even in podcasting has this cadence of weekly drops. But everyone I talk to in the industry is like, damn, I am like burnt out. It is a lot to produce a weekly show every single week of the year, all of this stuff. I'm like, so if all these people don't like it, but they feel like they're going to be left behind if they don't do it, like
Totally.
that's ripe for something new happening.
Yeah, and it's all coming. It's
Yeah.
all of these ways that things have been done. We even saw that through the book process, right? We're like, yeah, no, we see what this has looked like forever, and that's not authentic to us. So that's not how we're going to approach it. And I think all of that stuff's going to be busting up, all of it. And it's really exciting because it means that we all are going to have all of the spaciousness to really shine in the most authentic way. Even getting back to the Substack thing, and Mark Grove shared this when we were speaking, but he was, God, who was he talking about? The guy who was the leader in the research of the vagal nervous system was talking about something like how important it is, even if you write, even typing, from your brain, the first draft in what I do, and then I take it through an editorial process. Sometimes it takes me 4 days to write one Substack, just because I want to like infuse the things that are the essence of what's really happening right now. But then, of course, I have dreadful spelling and grammar, so I do a one take. And this is really interesting when I do put it through ChatGPT to edit it, because of that terrible cadence and all of that shit that's so bad and recognizable and is atrophying our brain. This is the exact prompt I give it. I say, copy, edit this for spelling, grammar, punctuation, proper wording, like proper tensing, and proper paragraph breaks only. That's what I give it, like that direct thing. So it doesn't change anything that I've written, but it's like if I had an editor going through it for me, basically. But yeah, the more that we can preserve our authenticness through this process, I see such a massive, massive pull out of social media that's going to happen. I really see kind of what you were talking about, Jessica. I see in-person connection, facilitation, dinners, in-person, everything is going to be what people crave and desire the most. And it's funny because we all sort of felt like that was something we were all wanting post the pandemic, but I think it's going to be on a whole new level of intimacy and in depth and connection people are craving.
I mean, yeah, there's like also a loneliness epidemic going on because of how people are so distant because of their phones and technology. So it makes sense that there would be a wave back to it in a way that feels maybe more integrated and less contrived. Like, I feel like we don't necessarily even have all the ways that we can do that. Like, there's no blueprint of what it should look like yet. I've seen different companies or brands like try to do community things. And I'm like, yes, that's a start, but I feel like there's going to be a new something that will shake out that we're like, oh, wow, how did we all never think of this? This is so great, you know?
Totally agree.
If you are walking into this season feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, exhausted, tested, triggered in love, money, career, relationships, all of the things, or maybe just searching for clarity, you are not alone. It has been a massive year of endings, ego deaths, and transformation cycles. And when that happens, it's always your inner child, your safety, your self-worth, your nervous system that takes the hit. Most people don't realize this, but your inner child is actually the one who is quietly running the show. Your triggers, your relationship patterns, your blocks, the decisions you make, even the level of success you'll allow yourself to have, all root down to whether your inner child feels safe. That is exactly why we created this end of year challenge as the Return to Magic Challenge. A 15-day manifestation challenge guiding you to reparent your inner child, reconnect with your magic, and step into this new year as your most confident, regulated, magnetic self. This is how you will come home to yourself this season, reconnecting with your authenticity, grounding your nervous system, and truly understanding the patterns that are running the show that need to reparent in order to feel safe with all of the changes happening to us. You can access this challenge inside of our Pathway membership. If you are up for renewals, be sure to check out your renewal email, or if you are getting the ping to join To Be Magnetic, now is the perfect time because we have our big end of year sale going on where you can get 30% off your entire membership of the Pathway. So that means not only are you going to get this challenge, but you're going to get every single TBM workshop, including how to manifest inner child shadow, love, money, boundaries, rut, rock bottom, plus our entire library of deep imaginings, our science-backed self-hypnosises that are formulated with EMDR, somatic healing, parts work, and neuroscience tools to help you regulate your nervous system and reprogram your subconscious so you can actually create the life you want. If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or ready for a total reset, this is your moment. This is the portal. Return to your magic. You will walk away with a step-by-step reparenting guide that's actually going to change your reality from the inside out. This is the year you're going to feel more grounded, clear, confident, and back to your magnetic self again. Again, you can join us in the Pathway with our 30% off sale at tobemagnetic.com. Let's begin your journey today. Okay, so this tees us up to the last phase, which is authentic identity and belonging. These are your high school years. These are your teenage years. These are early adolescence. And the biggest thing in this phase that you guys are going to reclaim is how we morph into our friend group's ideology to belong, and how we disconnect from our authentic perspective and identity to belong. The things that we give away so we are not ostracized from that friend group and from those social spheres. And so if you had your needs met in the prior phases, if you had a secure home base that you felt you could be creative and explore your essence, and you now believe that you can actually do whatever you want because you've seen that you're resilient and you're possible. When you are met with people that have opposite perspectives or views, you don't become a chameleon and morph into them. You stand true in your boundaries. You stand true in who you authentically are, and you can value them for who they authentically are as well. This is a huge one. This is where it's like all the phases come together so you feel safe to express authentically. So it's going to be a journey, guys.
I think what's extra exciting about this that the first, 1.0, 7 to 8 years ago didn't have in it is that we have somatic work in it. We have parts work in it. We also have shadow already looped into it. And this is like, whenever people would come to the brand, we're like, here's exactly your roadmap. do how to manifest, go into inner child, go into shadow. Well, we've just combined them. Jessica so beautifully has just combined basically the foundation everybody needs in this process. And the fun thing is if you've done it and you've done it multiple times, like Jessica and I have, is now you're doing it with all of these newer tools in it that I think can just drive it all down so much deeper to integrate a lot faster.
I'm excited because it has all the tools in one spot, and it's really approaching every single phase through, okay, what are the tools that we need to know and use to actually get our needs met and feel and live out from that space and believe we're worthy, we're capable, we can handle this, we're resilient, like every single thing that we need. And each one builds upon the next. And we're going to have some more episodes with Janelle and all of us to really go through some of the blocks that come up in each of these phases. So you guys can start self-identifying like, oh shit, that's where that comes from. Because so many people don't really understand how much those parts are truly running the show. And actually what those parts, when they pop up and they run the show or they self-sabotage or things are happening, it can be very confusing of like, well, what even is the goal? Like, why is it here? Why am I doing this? Why do I keep repeating this pattern? Or why do I keep settling here? Or why can't I release control? Why is it so hard for me to relax? Like, we're going to actually learn through those things, especially alongside Janelle's therapeutic lens. But I'm just so excited because I think this is going to be a very nourishing time. We've been calling it internally as a team, like this is our magnetic holiday. Like this is how we can just take this time of year, give ourselves exactly what we truly need on a somatic, on a deep subconscious level. We can celebrate and bring out all of the fun essence that we like miss from childhood. We can reclaim those aspects and now feel safe to start integrating them into our life. That is going to set us up on the path of authenticity, of purpose. And when you manifest from this place, I can't underline, bold this enough. This is how you actually make things alchemize. Sure, you can manifest not from this place, but it's not going to be fulfilling. It's going to be a short-term, quick hit fix. This is where you have that deep rooted self-worth. This is where the manifestations are like manifesting the childhood home that you've always wanted. This is where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting to like play and be creative and live out my like hobbies and passion as my career. Like this is where people manifest stuff like that. And they're so held in safety and abundance and trust alongside everything.
I can't wait. I think this is what we've all been wanting for the last couple of years. And I also think it's very, very, very important going into 2026. Extremely important.
That's one other thing I just want to bring up before we end here too, is that so many people have gone through so much this past year, right? Whether they jumped off the cliff and now they're on the other side of a relationship breakup or a career change or an identity shift. All of these things have been stripping off. There's been so much transformation, constant tests. But the one through line I've seen time and time again is the people that have been really attuned to what's going on within them through using the TBM tools, through understanding their awareness. Okay, these tests are connected to this block. Like they're seeing that pattern and they're showing up for themselves and moving through it. They are having so much more ease dealing with the stripping. It's not that the stripping's not happening, but the manifestations are bigger and more fulfilling and just really expansive on the other side. Whereas the people who were just like, and like letting it all hit them and not being like, wait, this is for my highest good. What can I learn here? How can I move through this with intention? That's where it's like, I don't want anyone to get lost in the volume of energy and intensity that's coming at them now, this year, next year, all of the things. Know that you are so worth it to take this time to be intentional, to really understand what is at play. What are my patterns? Why is this happening? What is the universe trying to get my attention about? Because there is something so great on the other side. Have you been seeing that, Lacey, where people who are just like in it, it's just like so much more ease?
More than so much more ease. At first, it was really intense for them. And then they were like, wait, none of this is as bad as I always feared. Their biggest fears are happening. And then those spaces are filled with A, way more strength and capability inside of themselves than they knew they had. And then B, it's like, well, fuck it. We took that away. I'm free. Now I can really, so there's this sense of excitement about like, what's next? Oh yes, let's be on board. Let's just zoom through this in not a bypassy way, but in an anchored and fully open and surrendered excitement way. And I really do believe that, again, the closer we can be to our truest, authentic, what our freak gene that makes us so unique, analog, connected self, this is going to be fun for the next couple of years. We're going to be led to more magic than we ever even knew we were capable of allowing ourselves to feel and have and be. So I really feel that. And I can see when people aren't open to that. And like you're saying, they're just like the wave is crashing and they're rolling in the wave and they're in the undertow. But I trust their alchemy and magic. But I do think also, yeah, I don't know. All I can say is I know a lot of people who are now like, bring it, let's do this. Like, I'm excited. The more I can really be in myself, be who I am, the more magic is going to unfold, not with ease, and not gently, but in a big way. That's the way that I see it.
I guess I say ease because you know that there's something like you're ultimately going to be okay. And I think someone that has that perspective, in a way, it feels more easeful because you're not feeling like you're punished, doomed, all hope is lost. You're feeling like there is still hope, even if you're in the thick of it.
Totally. And that there's going to be magic on the other side.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I know. Welcome, everybody. Let's do this.
Welcome. Let's dive in. Look at this candle. I just have to show. Like, I had this little ritual creative play one. Like, it started moving towards the recording. Like, okay, this is maybe lame, but like, this to me is magic. I'm like, I want time to just like stare at this. This is so cool.
This is the kind of stuff we're supposed to be in communication, in connection with at this moment. People are going to be listening to this episode and be like, Lacey has lost it. But then about a year from now, they're going to be like, fuck, Lacey was really spitting some truth. I'm telling you.
She was ahead of her time. People don't know.
This is channeling like from the universe. And it's an exciting time.
Yes. Thank you, Lacey. So excited to go on this journey with you.
You as well. Thank you so much. And thank you for creating such magic. This is going to be, wow. Let's do this.
Yay. Okay. We'll see you guys in there. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode today with Lacey and I. And if you are getting that ping, if you are feeling like, oh, dang, I really want to go into this, but I'm not sure, or is this the right time? We have our biggest sale of the year going on, 30% off. You can get into the Pathway membership and go at your own pace. This end of year challenge, Return to Magic, Getting Your Spark Back, is going to be available for a long time. So you can access this and dip into the tools when you have space as you need it. But obviously I recommend going through it with the community because it's going to be so potent. We'll see you in there.